Welcome to the Fearless Church podcast. We want to be fearless followers of Jesus that believe in the strength that community brings. We refuse to hide our fears and failures. We believe that we must go and take new ground in our faith, and we believe that there's no halfway in following Jesus. Thanks for joining us on the journey to becoming Fearless Church. Hi, Fearless Church. This is the fourth of a 5-week series titled Secrets Happy People Know. Everyone wants to be happy, but why is happiness so elusive? It can be so easy to find, but difficult to hold on to. While there's no silver bullet that will lead to a lifetime of happiness, we have found that there are a few secrets happy people know. And this week, we explore the idea that happy people live simple.
So I'm going to ask you a question. So whether you're online, you can jot it down in the comments below, but I'm going to ask you a question on the count of 3. I want you to yell out, what would make your life simple, okay? So 1, 2, 3. Man, this it didn't work the first service. I thought the second service would actually get a little better, but it doesn't seem anybody's awake. So I'm just going to tell you what I wanted you to answer, and we'll go from there. More money, okay? So think about it. More money would make your life simple. Like sometimes we think that way, right? Like if I just had more money, then I could have more time because I wouldn't have to spend so much time at work. If I had more money, I could pay off the debt. I'd have less debt and less worry. If I don't know, what else would make my life just simple? Like more time, or my schedule's not as busy. More kids. Wait, no. Less kids. But how do I do that? Like I have 6 kids. How do I do that already? Because I signed up to have 6 of them now. So think about all these things that you think like would make life simple. And I want to ask you a second question. What would make your life easy? Now that is probably the same answer that you may have said for simple. And a lot of times that's what we do here is we equate simple with easy. We think, okay, if I just had a simple life, it would be an easy life. And so today what I want to just say is, hey, we're going to all agree that simple does not equal easy. Because life is never easy. I think that's basically if you've walked this earth for, 2 days. I feel like even as a toddler, you're like, this life isn't easy, right? This life is not easy. Things are going to be thrown at us. And so we can't say that simple equals easy. And I want to introduce you to my favorite pet. Don't judge me. We can have a favorite pet. We can't have favorite kids, but we can have favorite pets. And so this is my dog, Buddy. He's been with us for about 10 years. He traveled from Texas to Ohio with us. He's a really good dog. As you can see, this is his natural habitat. He sleeps. Doesn't really cause us a lot of problems. He doesn't bark unless the other dog's barking. Yeah, I got that dog. He's a good pet. Here's another habitat that he's in. He eats. So he sleeps, he eats, and then he gets loved on. He gets loved on by everybody in my family. And so, this is what we think. I bet you or someone you know may have been looking at a pet or an animal that you care about, and you're like, man, they live an easy life. They've got it made. All they do is eat, sleep, and they're loved on. Everybody takes care of them. And we've all been there. But the thing is if you zoom out, his life isn't simple. It might be easy, but it's not simple. So we can't say that simple equals easy because this is my family. And there's way more pets than just Buddy. We got 6 pets, 6 kids. I don't know why we decided to do that. But it's chaos at our house. We live in Centerville. We're online 24/7, it seems like, for homework, right? For schoolwork. It's always a different schedule at home. I've got a senior this year. We've got to figure out what we're going to do, where he's going to go to college. I can't pay for college, so he's got to pay for college somehow. So how is that going to happen? I've got a freshman entering high school, but you can't go to high school. All of these things are going around in my head. my wife and I have been married for 19 years. Like, life isn't easy, right? If you've been married for 3 days, you know that. And then we decided to have 3 kids, and we thought that wasn't enough, so why don't we adopt 3 kids? Chaos upon chaos upon chaos is at our home. Our life is not easy. You'd look at this picture and go, yeah, you don't have an easy life, and I would agree with you. I agree, 150%. My life is not easy, but it is simple. And I think I have found the key to living simple. And so this is what I want to challenge you with. One of the definitions of simple is that it is uncomplicated in form or design. And now if you look at this picture, you're like, there's nothing uncomplicated about that. But the thing is if you have form, if you have design, then you have a creator, you have a designer. And what we believe here at Fearless Church, what I believe in my heart, is that God created everything in this world. And he created the universe, he created all the stars, sun, moon. Like, he created everything for a purpose. A tree has its purpose, the world has its purpose, the sun has its purpose. Everything was created for a purpose. He even created me. He took 9 months to create me. He created me with unique talents and gifts, with abilities, with a purpose. Like, that's what we believe. And if we have a creator that's created us with a purpose, then simple is walking in that purpose. Like, simple is simply living what you were created to do. And so let's all land here is that simple equals sole purpose. Simple is whether you believe in Jesus or not, living simple is finding your purpose and running after it, chasing after it. There was this story where Jesus is talking to a crowd, much like we see right now, as he's sitting here talking to this crowd. They all gathered around him on what we would say a mountain. It may have been a hill or just a kind of an open area here where he is speaking to more than one person. So he's got his disciples there, his followers. They've got the poor, the meek, all of these people that are just walking to him, trying to figure it out. You've got the religious leaders there. You've got possibly some rich people there. All live different lives. All live different purposes. And yet he says this one thing to him. This is the biggest message we know that he said in Matthew. And it's chapter 6. It was 5, 6, and 7, 4, 5, and 6. I can't remember right off the top of my head. But he gets here to this: wherever your treasure is, there the desires of your heart will also be. Now he's talking about earthly treasures and heavenly treasures. And it's this idea that we are created to chase after something. There is something in our hearts that drives us, that makes us seek treasures. He talks about heavenly treasures. There's something in us that we want to believe that there's something more to life, something after life. So we're seeking, we're running after. There's earthly treasures, like we run after purpose in life. We run after what we find value in. And so he says, wherever your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So I want to introduce you to one of my friends. I wish it was my friend, right? Like, Johnny Depp is so good at what he does. Like, since Edward Scissorhands, I've always kind of followed his acting career. And when you think of, well, maybe not you, but when I think of treasure, I think of pirates. Now, I know Jesus wasn't thinking of pirates when he was talking about treasures, but I think of pirates. And if you've seen Johnny Depp play Captain Jack Sparrow in the movies Pirates of the Caribbean, you know he lives with sole purpose. You know that he has a treasure, and you know that he's going to do whatever he can to get to that treasure. Doesn't matter what relationships he hurts, doesn't matter what lives are gone after that, it doesn't matter how much time he's invested, how much he has to sacrifice, it doesn't matter anything. He knows what he's looking for, and he's running after it. And those movies are dang complicated. Like, I never know where it's going until the end. That's life. That's what Jesus is saying. Jesus is saying life is going to be complicated, but if you keep your eyes on the right treasure, it will be simple. You will have purpose. You'll have meaning. You will have life. And so I want to ask you, maybe, okay, what do you chase after? Like, where does your heart go? What do you chase after? If I had a treasure box and I could put it on this stage and I asked you to write down some things, or online, if I asked you to jot things down in the comments, like, what would you put in that box? What would you put in this treasure box? Would it be work? Like, I find treasure, value, purpose in work. Would it be your marriage? Would it be your spouse? Would it be your kids? That can be separate. Would it be your family as something as a whole? Would it be retirement? Would it be your future is secure? Would it be the easy life? Would it be more money? Like, where are you running? What are the treasures you're running after? Because if we can start identifying those, we can start identifying what pulls at our heart. Jesus goes on to say, no one can serve two masters. No one can serve two masters. And I know you have all felt this tension. Let me give you a little example here. You're at work, okay? You're at work and you're diving into a project that you have to do. You're coming up to the end of your time at that day at work, and your boss says, I need you to stay a little longer. I need you to stay a little longer. I need you to press in. I need you to finish this project. I need you to do it by the end of the day. I know I said it was tomorrow, but I need you to finish it today. And then you're like, okay, well, I guess I will do it, even though I was supposed to be home in about 30 minutes. I'll press in, I'll see what I can do, and you start. And then you get the text, right? Then you get the text. Hey, when are you coming home? I've got 6 kids at home. Okay, maybe that's me. But I got 6 kids at home, and I need your help. I need you here. And now all of a sudden, you're feeling this tension. You're feeling this, well, I've got to do work, yet my wife is asking me to come home. You're feeling this tension. You're saying, okay, there's 2 masters here. There's 2 things that I have to try to figure out what to do. And you start feeling this tension of, what choice do I make? Where do I go? Where do I walk? And so you start to feel emotional. You start to go, oh man, I hate this choice. I hate to have to try to choose between 2 things, and all of a sudden your heart's divided and you feel, okay, no, I can love work and I can love my spouse. I can love work and I love and Jesus says, no, that is impossible. Like, you can't serve 2 masters, because it will cause a divided heart. It will cause a divided heart if you run after 2 things and you feel that tension. You're like, okay, I love my wife, but I really do need to love work right now. And then you get another text. Hey, are you coming? And it's building and building and building. And all of a sudden he says, you will be devoted to one and despise the other. Now your thoughts are going down. Okay, I have to work. I wish he would stop sending me that text. And now all of a sudden you feel this division, not only in your heart, but you have divided thoughts and actions. You start working out all of these things. You start all this tension between you and your spouse, between you and your boss, and you're like, I can't make this decision. This is difficult for me. And worry starts kicking in, stress starts kicking in, and you felt this tension before. I've felt this tension before. And all of a sudden, we realize what it feels like to try to serve 2 masters. And we chase after so many things on earth. But Jesus takes this to another level. Jesus takes this to something way more important than just the treasures we walk through on earth. He says, you cannot serve God and be enslaved to money. And it's not just talking about the dollar bill. This is talking about the personification of riches. The word there is mammon, and it's this idea that whatever comes with the rich lifestyle, literally the lifestyle of the rich and the famous, is how I would put it in our words. Like, when you think of somebody that is rich, what do we think about? We think about money. That is one thing, but we think about ease. We think about comfort. We think about provision. We think about security. We think about control. We think about our future being secure. All of these things that come with this idea of being rich. And he says, you can't serve these 2 things. It's impossible. So where are we landing? We're landing that it's impossible to serve this idea of an easy, comfortable life and have purpose for God. It's impossible. You will start feeling this tension. You'll start feeling a divided heart. And then when you start feeling this tension and divided heart because you think that you can serve both, you're like, no, I can love God and love my family. I can love God and love my job equally. And he's saying, no, it's impossible. But when you start feeling this tension, what kicks in? Worry. And that's exactly where Jesus goes. He's like, you're going to start worrying. You're going to start worrying about what you're going to wear, what you're going to eat, what your future looks like. You're going to start worrying, and worry's going to start filling you. And worry is the opposite of happiness. Worry is the opposite of contentment. Worry gets us all the time. He says, don't worry, I've got a solution. Don't worry. Great. Thank you, Jesus. Like, can you explain a little bit? And he goes, yes, I can actually. Because I know worry's going to flood you. I know worry's going to be something that you deal with all the time. Because I created you. I know your heart. I know you're going to worry. So pick one. Pick one. Choose one master. Choose something, hold on to it, and run after it with all you have. And that's what he says. That's his solution. Because look what he says. Seek the kingdom of God above all else. Like, I created you. I created this world. I created you and gave you a purpose. I hope you pick me. I hope you run after me. I hope you seek me and run to me with everything you have. Seek me above all else. I know this earthly life will bring other things. I know that you have a spouse. I know that you need to know how to love them. I know you need to care for them. I know you need to serve them. I know you're going to have kids. I know you need to raise them up. I know how you should work, because he says, seek me and live righteously. I will show you how to do this. If you run after me, I will show you how to love your spouse. If you run after me, I'll show you how to raise your kids. If you run after me, I will show you how to work and work well. I will show you how to live this life because I created you. I know you. And as you're doing this, hey, don't worry, because I'll give you everything you need. I'll give you everything you need. So don't worry. There's a solution. If we pick one, we run after him, and we trust him, we don't have to worry about tomorrow. For tomorrow will bring its own worries. And then I wish he stopped right there, right? But he says today's trouble is enough for today. Like, I want the easy life, Jesus. Like, that's what I really want. I want the easy life. And he says, that's not the choice that you need to make. You need to choose me. I will show you how to live, because you're not promised an easy life. I mean, that's what we've been talking about in this whole series. Like, think about it. Secrets happy people know. What you want, what we think we want is, hey, tell me how to live easy and I'll be happy. The first week was like, hey, you're going to have troubles. Pastor Chris talked about you're going to have troubles, but zoom out. Don't focus on your troubles. Zoom out. Look at it from an eternal perspective. Week 2, Pastor Chris talked about, hey, you're going to have troubles, but change it. Change your perspective from I have to get to. So when you're on the side of the road and you're changing your tire, you don't have to change your tire. You get to change your tire because you have a car. Week 3, last week, Chris Volz was talking about all the baggage that we get put on us from our troubles. And he says, you know what's going to get you past that is to forgive. Learn how to give and receive forgiveness. And today's the same thing. You're going to have trouble. But there's somebody that created you that knows you're going to have trouble, and he wants to walk through life with you. He wants to give you everything you need. And this isn't new language. Jesus doesn't show up on earth and gives us something new. Like, this has been the constant battle that people have had from the beginning of time. When God created Adam and Eve, he said, here's your purpose, live in it. And they decided to do what was right in their own eyes. They lead all the way up through Abraham, the Israelites, all the way through Moses. Moses gets them out of Egypt, takes them to the promised land. Joshua leads them into the promised land. And in the Old Testament, we have some of this same language, something that we can take this idea of what masters, what treasures are that we seek here on earth. And he says this, so fear the Lord and serve him wholeheartedly. Like choose God and run after him. Choose God and chase after him with all your heart, because where your heart is, there your treasure will be. Put away forever the idols, the treasures, the masters, the gods of your ancestors that they worshipped when they lived beyond the Euphrates River and in Egypt. Back when you were enslaved, let go of those treasures. Serve the Lord alone. But if you refuse to serve the Lord, then choose one. Pick one. Choose one, because life is more simple when you run after one thing, when you have a single purpose. Would you prefer the treasures, the masters, the idols, the gods your ancestors served beyond the Euphrates? Or what about the treasures, the masters of the Amorites in whose land you now live? And Joshua says this, but as for me and my family, we will serve, we will choose, we will run after the Lord. That's what we're choosing. So how does that look like? How does that look like in my life? I stepped into a relationship with God in third grade. I had some wrestles throughout high school. Did I really know what I was doing? Did I understand what I was doing? I was walking through this whole life of, is God real? And then I met my wife in college. And we decided, hey, if we're going to do this, we're going to serve the Lord. We're going to choose the Lord. And so for me, I know that God created me for a purpose. I know God created me with gifts and talents, but I know that I've got to chase after him. I've got to choose him in all that I do. And so how does that look like when I've been married for 19 years, and I can guarantee you we've had at least 19 fights, right? At least, probably first year. But marriage isn't promised to be easy. And so as you're going through marriage and you're having these discussions and you're having these fights and you're having these difficult times, what do you hold on to? Do you run after Jesus and let him tell you how you're supposed to love your spouse? Because as a husband, if I believe that Jesus has everything good for me and he's created me for a purpose and I'm running after him, then I have to hold on to, for husbands, this means love your wives just as Christ loved the church. He gave up his life for her. What does that look like? Does it look like stepping in front of a bullet when it comes? No, because chances are that's not going to happen. It's daily waking up and dying to your desires, your wants, your goals in life, and finding out what your spouse wants. So I'll let you into one of our 19 discussions, because I don't want to call it a fight right now. This last week, again, we have all these kids at home. They're doing all this online stuff. And chances are, if you have children, you know what I'm about to say. They don't do their homework. And so my wife's a teacher. She thinks homework's pretty darn important. Me, I just got by in school. But she was like, okay, Brian, when you come home, I've already taught, I've already spent time with the kids. We've got to figure out, did they do their homework? And I want you to help the smallest one, Dakota, get prepared for the next day. So Tuesday rolls around, and guess who forgot? Me. So Wednesday night rolls around, and she goes, Brian, you remember what I asked you to do about the kids? And I was like, oh no, this is a trap. And I start going down all these roads. Oh, yes, you told me that I need to come home, see if the kids finish their school, and get them ready for the next day. And she goes, and did you do that? And I was like, no. I'm sorry, I was not thinking about it. Wrong words to say at that time, because then it led me down another track of, oh, so what I talked to you about's not that important, huh? So this had one of our discussions. Heated discussions. Wednesday night, we're just talking through, and I have to apologize. I'm sorry, I will do better. And the thing is I have to believe that. Sorry doesn't mean anything if you don't change. Asking forgiveness for something doesn't mean anything if you don't change. And so I apologize and I say, okay, I've got to give up my time because I just want to get home and sit down. I just want to get home and enjoy the evening. I don't want to have to press into dealing with schoolwork, with kids. I don't want to have to press into any of that. I want an easy evening. But I'm not promised easy. But I am promised simple. So I have to hold on to, I'm sorry, and I'm going to change. So this Thursday night, I at least got one thing right. I did what I was asked to do. And my wife felt loved. Imagine that. Jesus tells us how we can live, and if you hold on to Jesus, he will show you. Take it to the rest of these 6 crazy, loving kids. What am I supposed to do with them? Like if I tried to raise them on my own, I can't even handle raising the oldest, much less the 3 adopted where I'm trying to learn who they are. They've been with us for 4 years now. It is difficult because I don't know their past. It's hard. It's not easy, but it is simple. Because if I'm holding on to Jesus, then I have to go to, and you must commit yourselves wholeheartedly to these commands that I'm giving you today. Repeat them again and again to your children. And I gotta say, the writer of Deuteronomy, which was Moses, he forgot some agains. He forgot agains. It's never worked twice for me. It's like, hey, don't lie. Lying's not good because it breaks trust with people. I just told you that like 2 hours ago and you just lied again and you're doing it again and again and again. As a parent, have you been locked in that circle forever? Like you're like, yes, this is not easy. Repeat them again and again and again and again and again and again and again. Talk about them when you're at home and when you're on the road, when you're going to bed and when you're getting up. Guess what? That has nothing to do about bring them to the temple and let the priest instruct your children. That's on us as parents. Is this easy? No, not at all. But it is simple. Because I love Jesus, I love my kids, and I'm going to instruct them when I wake up, when I'm on the road, when I'm going to bed, and when I'm getting up. Like, that's what I'm going to do. Do I always hit it 100%? No. You can ask any of my kids or my wife. I fail at this all the time, but I'm not taking my eyes off of Jesus. I'm running and doing exactly what he told me to do. And I don't know where you're at. I don't know if you're single. I don't know if you're married. I don't know if you have kids or empty nesters. I don't know if you're in retirement. I don't know what you believe your purpose is, but there's 2 types of people that I can guarantee that you're in this room today. There's those that have met Jesus, and there's those that haven't. And I don't know if you've met Jesus and you've been walking with him a long time, but man, you've picked up some other masters along the way. You've picked up some other purposes along the way. What I can encourage you to do is, hey, drop those things because they're not worth it. But I can encourage you, run and run well after Jesus because he will forgive you, he will seek you, and he will find you, and you will have life. If you're already decided to follow Jesus and you're running after him and you know he's your soul master, all I want to do is encourage you today is keep running. Because it's a race. We don't end until we see him face to face. But if you haven't met Jesus today, if you're just checking us out, trying to figure out what faith is all about, trying to figure out if Jesus is real, what I want to tell you, what I have found out, what I truly believe is the key to life and purpose in life is Jesus says this. Yes, I am the gate. This idea of I've got this single opening that you need to walk through. Those who come in through me will be saved. You will receive salvation. It's not based off of what you do. It's based off of what I have done on the cross for you. You will be saved. And I can guarantee you that you will come and go freely. Do you see the freedom in this? Like, we're not chained to this religion where we found freedom in Christ and what he did. And you will find good pastures. You'll come in. It's not that you're going to lose salvation or gain salvation. It's that you're going to walk through this gate freely in life. And you're going to come into me and for protection, and you're going to be provided for. You're going to have good pastures. Now, the thief's purpose, the master's purpose, those other things, treasures that you run after, their purpose is to steal and kill and destroy. But here's his purpose for you. Here's his purpose for me, that I will have a rich and satisfying life. Isn't that what we all want? Isn't that what we truly all need? Is a satisfying life. Because if you can live a satisfying life, you're living simple. And living simple will make you happy. In fact, it will make you more than happy. It will make you content. You'll have joy above all else. And so I don't know. What does that look like for you today? What are you running after? Where's your treasure? What are you seeking after? Do you need to drop some? Do you need to find your focus and be laser focused on Jesus? Do you need to meet Jesus? Like, we would love to have these conversations with you.
Thanks for joining us on the Fearless Church podcast. You can find the discussion questions from this sermon in our episode notes. We encourage you to find a friend or a family member to think through those with you, or even just spend time thinking through them as you go about your day. We would love for you to become a part of the Fearless family and join us for a service. Information for our on-campus and online services can be found in the podcast notes or on our website at www.befearless.org. There, you can also find our requirements for attendance due to COVID-19. We hope that you'll tune in again with us on the Fearless Church podcast.